Alright everybody, Terrence Popp here with another episode of Live from the Lair. Alright, so I'm just going to tell everyone up front so you don't hear about it, from somebody else. I have accepted another speaking role at the CME that's going to be down in Florida. The thing I'm going to be talking about, I was tempted to do another suicide briefing, but, I don't know. I don't know if I should be doing that multiple times in a row. I mean, that was a pretty good briefing. I think it'll be hard for me to top that. In my opinion, of course. You can always do better. But I have picked another subject that the youth of today especially need. It's called mental resiliency. Alright, now a lot of people are like, oh, it's such a metaphysical, how are you going to talk about that? Yeah. Well, I'm not a professor, and I haven't, actually studied any of this stuff in school, but I have lived it. Okay. 33 years in the military. I saw 3 wars come and go, participated in 2, and I was almost killed twice. Got wounded in both, in the both conflicts I participated in. And I got torn up really good. Now, when I give this talk on mental resiliency, I will be talking about mental toughness. And there is a difference between the two, mental toughness and mental resiliency. Like, mental toughness is like a piece of granite. It is really tough, but over time it can be worn down. And mental resiliency actually teaches you tricks on how to pull back and save yourself from grinding your mental toughness away to basically sand, because then it doesn't do anyone any good then. Alright, now the mental toughness and mental resiliency are linked. So they both feed off each other, and the both concepts need to exist within your mind to survive unforeseen circumstances that hit everyone. Now listen, I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you have. Alright? Sooner or later, life is going to come around and kick you in the goddamn teeth. Every single time. And we're talking unexpected deaths, car accidents, divorces, disease, mental illness, being rendered homeless, dealing with drugs and alcohol addictions. All of that stuff, can be helped with mental resilience and mental toughness. And the youth of today, in my opinion, because they spend so much time on their phone or behind some screen somewhere, they're not out there experiencing life. Alright? When I was young, my idea of a great summer day, when I was, on summer vacation, was to wake up at 9 o'clock, eat breakfast, get on my bike, and go hang out with my friends until 7 o'clock in the evening. Alright, a lot of times, maybe I would come back to the house to eat lunch or dinner, seldom both. And, while you're out experiencing life, you do things that are, you would think don't really aid you in this department. But say, I can't tell how many times I've wiped out on my bike, laid there in agony, thought it was all going to come to, the world is going to come to an end, and it was just so terrible. And my buddies would be like, what are you going to do, lay around and cry all goddamn day, or are you going to suck it up and drive on? Come on, we got shit to do. And you'd be surprised By the time I got to about, 17, 18 years old, I had developed a cacophony of mental toughness. And I would say, I had developed a mental toughness that was, counterproductive to being healthy. All right. Because I was literally able to do things and endure incredible hardship and pain due to mental toughness. And there was a few times where I came really close to dying because of it. Hang on. The first wave, well, that was about voting. The second wave, that was about the pill. Double wah. The third wave, it was about securing more rights than men. What does the fourth wave look like? Find out and arm yourself against the war for your soul and this country. You need these books here. Surviving Fourth Wave Feminism, volumes 1 and 2. They're on sale now. Click on the link below in the description, because if you save masculinity, you're going to wind up saving the world. And it did save my life. Told the stories about when I jumped into Panama in '89. I jumped into Rio Hato with 2nd Ranger Battalion. And I was attached to, I believe it was no, I had moved out of there by then. It was, I was in Weapons Company, in Bravo, Webco and Bravo Company. And I had been assigned to basically be a casualty evacuation individual. And when I jumped in, I was, I carried so much goddamn weight. And it could have been so easy at any time to quit. But it's not my style. But, I jumped in at 435 feet. I was on the ground like 30 seconds, and I was struck by an enemy vehicle on the service road to the drop zone, which is along one of their airfields. And it hit me at speed. Luckily, I still had my reserve parachute and my parachute harness on. I had cut away the parachute from the 2 release points. And I believe it was that reserve parachute that kept the bumper from caving in my ribs. I don't think I would survive that. And it hurt. It hurt like hell. It really did. And the only thing that saved my life that day was mental toughness. All right, because they got me dead to rights. Like, literally, they struck me with a pickup truck, threw me into a ditch, pulled on top of me. Luckily, the wheel didn't hit. The wheels never rolled over any part of my body. I wouldn't be here if that had taken place. Knocked the wind out of me. My ears are ringing. When you get, you take a really good shot, how you see like the spots and stuff. And I knew at that moment that, it was go time. And if they would have gotten out of the vehicle and then just cut my throat, because I was pinned to an extent, along the fence. And luckily for me, there was a little ditch there, so I had my body could get underneath the truck without actually getting, damaged too badly. Well, they fucked up and they pulled off of me, and that gave me the time I needed to put a weapon system into action and defend myself. And I'm here, and I don't know if all of them are. As a betting man, I would say no. That's an example of mental toughness. There's a lot of boxers out there that have really good mental toughness and some that don't. Now, one of the stories that I'm going to use here is I believe that boxer's dead now, is Buster Douglas, and he was the one that handed Mike Tyson his first devastating defeat, and nobody really gave Mr. Douglas a chance, and he was a bum, and everyone was just talking all kinds of trash. But what they didn't know is Buster Douglas's mother had died, and before she had passed away, he had promised her that he would win the world title. Now, the people who are making all of those comments about Mr. Douglas, they didn't have this information, and they were making judgments based on how Mr. Douglas had performed in the past, which he was a good fighter, and he was, dangerous. But when, you start getting into the top tier levels in that sport, the people who do have, the work ethic and the talent and the mental toughness are the ones that are succeeding. And he was falling short. But it was the death of his mother and that promise he had made that allowed him to turn on the championship amount of mental toughness needed at that particular moment. And he won. He didn't just win on points. He knocked out Tyson. All right. Now just let that kick around in the back of your mind there, okay? Just imagine how the world would be today, especially the world of boxing, if Mr. Buster Douglas, every time he stepped into that ring, had that same I am not going to quit mental toughness attitude. It would be completely different. Because that dude, went in that fight with Mike Tyson, he was a completely different man. And everyone out there who sees this video has that same power. You might not be a boxer or, what have you. But everyone has that ability, if they want it, to awaken that mental toughness within you. But most people don't. Once they get into their rhythm, their complacent life, a lot of times that goes away. Most of the time it does. I can't tell you how many guys that I knew, in college, high school, in the Army, who were just absolutely terrifying, and now they got married, they got fat, and they just get up every day and they work their 40 hours, plus or minus, 3 to 11 hours of overtime every week, and they've been doing it for years. And they're destroyed. All right. And I believe that they basically destroyed themselves because they allowed themselves to get complacent. It'll happen to everyone if you don't mindfully watch it. It sneaks up on you. It's really methodical and devious how it happens. And granted, everyone's going to get older until you don't. You're going to see physical abilities, shrink away as you get older. Because quite frankly, from 0 to 40 is where life gives you all of the good stuff. And then after 40, it's when life starts taking away everything a little bit at a time. It's really methodical. All right. But the mental resiliency, and I'm going to explain this at the CME, and I have to, flush it out a little better. This is basically a rough draft here. Mental resiliency is the difference in your head between the mental toughness, which is an iron bar. It's very hard, but brittle. You can break it. It will take a lot of force or effort to do so, but it can be broken. Now, if you have mental resiliency, you can change that block of iron, that iron will that you had that you call your mental toughness, and you can change it to steel. And what is the big difference between steel and iron? Steel flexes. It gives. All right, iron just gives the instantaneous resistance. There's no give to it whatsoever. And once the force is great enough to break it, it shatters. Steel, if you can forge your mind to resemble steel, when those things hit you, when life tries to kick you in the teeth, and it will kick you in the teeth at some point. Having the mental resiliency to withstand that, roll with the punches, and come back. This is very important. This is a critical life lesson here. Okay? Yes, having mental toughness is great. It really is, to a point. But if you don't learn how to use the mental resiliency, you'll get worn down. All right, quite literally, if you ever went to a beach and you walk across all of that sand, at some point all of that sand were rocks, boulders, bedrock, granite, quartz, and they were basically ground away to almost nothing. Just a residual of what it used to be. All right. And this is going to be a tough concept moving forward, but I really think that the men out there need to hear this. Because the men of today, there is no rite of passage for you guys. And a lot of you don't know what you want to do with your lives. You're not motivated. Okay, you just want to get by. And you can do that. That's fine. But you have to accept the fact you'll be nothing more than average at best if you decide to live your life like that. All right? I personally would like to see all of the men who watch my content excel. Do way better than me. Exceed me. Honor me by doing great, powerful things. That is my goal here. That and to save lives. Now, a lot of people who I've known who have high amounts of mental toughness and mental resiliency. Life is still tough. But you're going to notice a lot of the people around you that don't have those two things are going to resent you. Because misery loves company. All right? Now, case in point. All right. Do I have a lot of money? No. I'm retired. I'm not going to starve. Hopefully, the country doesn't go bankrupt. But, everything that I've done in my life, I always, if I'm going to do it, I strive to do it well, if not the best. All right, now, when I was in my 20s, all of the people that, I had known from my high school were cruising through life. Some went to college. Most didn't. They just wound up being like the mediocre whatchamacallits. Now, when I went to high school, I was a runt. All right. Literally, I was the resume at the bottom of the pile and the second look not taken, literally. And since I walked out of that high school because I had, mental toughness and mental resiliency, I was able to become an infantry soldier, an airborne paratrooper, an airborne ranger in a Green Beret. All right. I then went on to become an intel analyst. I worked in civil affairs and I did some psyops. I trained thousands of men, led hundreds of men in battle and in war. I've written books. I went to college and I paid for myself. As a kickboxer, I fought my way all the way up to a shot at a world title. That's exceedingly rare. And I'm not done yet. Most of the individuals that I know from, my graduating class, they're coming up on the end. They're going to retire here soon. Maybe they got a house, got grandkids, what have you. And I guess that, in a way can be a reward for, being Mr. Average. I myself could never do that. So, I had to crush it, and I'm still doing that now. Hopefully one day I'll be able to get this comedy up and running on a national level so I can save even more lives. Okay, there's a lot more lessons for me to teach the individuals out there. All right, because life is tough. Adulting sucks. And life wants nothing but to kick your fucking ass and leave you dead in a ditch. And it would like to do that as soon as possible. And it will win. You will wind up dead in a ditch somewhere. But the difference is, are you going to be in that ditch at 15? Or are you going to be in that ditch at 75? I don't know. I like 75. But anyway, I just wanted to let everyone know that I'm not hiding from anyone. I know a lot of people there's like this big rift in the manosphere between certain individuals. I'm not going to name them. I don't get involved in that stuff. I don't. But if I'm given an opportunity to stand up and talk to individuals and maybe save one more life, I'm going to fucking do it. That's just the way it is. And some people will love me for it, and some of you will hate me for it. And that's fine. But you'll be alive. And that's even better. Anyway, sorry for the rant, but I didn't want you guys to hear anything on the grapevine. I just want to tell you to your faces what's going down and what I'm planning on doing. So it is my intention to, put together a clearer focus on mental resiliency and do not a quick briefing, about a half an hour to 45 minutes on steps you can use to help you in acquiring those tools. And most of them I've already covered in my comedy shows. So those lessons are already out there. But I'm going to put them together in one, and then I'm going to rub it in all your faces out there that they've been there for years and you guys didn't see it. Nothing personal, and I'm not trying to be an asshole or anything. Well, yes, I am. That's what I do.